If you wish to dispute the information Turo reported to a credit bureau, i.e., Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, please contact support.turo.com. If you wish to dispute the information a collection agency reported to a credit bureau regarding your Turo account, you must contact the collection agency directly. Taxes in certain jurisdictions. Turo may enable the collection and remittance of certain taxes from or on behalf of guests or hosts, based on existing and future tax regulations, including marketplace facilitator or car-sharing regulations. The amount of taxes, if any, collected and remitted by Turo will be visible to, and separately stated, to both guests and hosts on their respective trip-related documents and invoices. Where Turo is facilitating the collection and remittance of taxes, hosts are not permitted to collect the same taxes on the services in relation their vehicle sharing in that jurisdiction. Your commitments: you agree that you will always use your Turo account and the services in compliance with these terms, applicable law, and any other policies and standards provided to you by Turo. Account activity. You are, and will be solely responsible for, all of the activity that occurs through your Turo account. Keep your Turo account information, including your password, secure. You agree that you will not disclose your password to any third party and that you will take sole responsibility for any activities or actions under your Turo account, whether or not you have authorized such activities or actions. You will immediately notify Turo of any actual or suspected unauthorized use of your Turo account. We are not responsible for your failure to comply with this clause, or for any delay in shutting down or protecting your Turo account unless you have reported unauthorized access to us. Content. Turo content and user content license. Subject to your compliance with the provisions of these terms, Turo grants you a limited, revocable, non-exclusive, non-transferable license to access and view any Turo and/or user content to which you are permitted access, solely for your personal and non-commercial purposes. You have no right to sublicense the license rights granted in this section. No licenses or rights are granted to you by implication or otherwise under any intellectual property rights owned or controlled by Turo or its licensors, except for the licenses and rights expressly granted in these terms. User content. We may, in our sole discretion, permit you to post, upload, publish, submit or transmit content through the services such as photographs of you and your vehicles, reviews, feedback, and descriptions of you, your vehicle, or trip. By making available any content on or through the services, or through Turo promotional campaigns, you grant Turo a worldwide, irrevocable, perpetual, or for the term of the protection, non-exclusive, transferable, royalty-free license, with the right to sublicense, to use, view, copy, adapt, modify, distribute, transfer, publicly display, publicly perform, transmit, stream, broadcast, access, view, and otherwise exploit such content on, through, by means of, or to promote or market the services, except as described above with respect to Turo photography provides to hosts. Turo does not claim any ownership rights in any such content, and nothing in these terms will be deemed to restrict any rights that you may have to use and exploit any such content. Copyright protection. We respond to notices of alleged copyright infringement and terminate Turo accounts of repeat infringers according to the process set out in the U.S. Digital Millennium Copyright Act and similar laws. If you think a user is violating your copyrights and want to notify us, you can find information about submitting notices here. Prohibited activities in connection with your use of or access to the services. You agree that you will not, nor advocate, encourage, request, or assist any third party to violate any law, including breach, violate, and/or circumvent any local, state, provincial, territorial, regional, or national law or other law or regulation, or any order of a court, including, without limitation, airport regulations and tax regulations, licensing or registration requirements, or third-party rights. Post false, inaccurate, misleading, defamatory, or libelous content infringe, reproduce, perform, display, distribute, reverse engineer, or prepare derivative works from content that belongs to or is licensed to Turo, or that comes from the services and belongs to another Turo user or to a third party, including works covered by any copyrights, trademark, patent, or other intellectual property, privacy, publicity, moral, or contractual rights, except with prior express written permission of Turo, dilute, tarnish, or otherwise harm the Turo brand in any way, including through unauthorized use of the services and/or user content, registering and/or using Turo, or derivative terms in domain names, trade names, trademarks, or otherwise registering and/or using domain names, trade names, trademarks, social media account names, or other means of identification that closely imitate or are confusingly similar to Turo domains, trademarks, taglines, promotional campaigns, or Turo and/or user content. Provide or submit any false or misleading information, including false name, date of birth, driver's license details, payment method, insurance, or other personal information in relation to a claim, for example about damage to a vehicle, by registering for a Turo account on behalf of an individual other than yourself, impersonating any person or entity, or falsifying or otherwise misrepresenting yourself or your affiliation with any person or entity. Fail to honor your commitments, including fail to pay fees, penalties, or other amounts owed to Turo or another user. Fail, as either a guest or host, to timely deliver, make available, or return any vehicle and optional extras. Unless you have a valid reason, use the services to find a host or guest, and then complete a transaction partially or wholly independent of the services. For any reason, including but not limited to circumventing the obligation to pay any fees related to Turo's provision of the services, aka gray market transactions, which do not necessarily require the exchange of money. Transfer your Turo account and/or user ID to another party without our consent. Leave a vehicle unlocked or running with the keys inside, except where instructed to do so directly by Turo. In certain limited circumstances, harm or threaten to harm users of our community, including harass, stalk, or defame any other Turo user, or collect or store any personally identifiable information about any other user other than for purposes of transacting as a host or guest in accordance with these terms. Engage in physically or verbally abusive or threatening conduct. Use the services to transmit, distribute, post, or submit any information concerning any other person or entity, including without limitation, photographs of others without their permission, personal contact information, payment method details, or account numbers. Treat anyone differently based on the way they look, who they love, what they believe, how they self-identify, where they are from, or when they were born. Discrimination of any kind is not tolerated in the Turo community. Sue or assert legal claims against Turo or a Turo user in any manner prohibited or waived by these terms. Use the services for your own unrelated purposes, including to contact another Turo user for any purpose other than in relation to a booking, vehicle, listing, or the use of the services by such user. Commercialize any content found on the services or software associated with the services, including reviews. Harvest or otherwise collect information about users without their and our consent. Recruit or otherwise solicit any user to join third-party services or websites that are competitive to Turo, without our prior written approval, interfere with the operation of the services, including by interfering with any other user's listings, entering into a Turo transaction with a member of your family, household, friend, colleague, or acquaintance using the services in connection with the distribution or posting of unsolicited commercial messages, e.g., spam, distributing viruses or any other technologies such as cancel bots, Trojan horses, harmful code, flood pings, denial of service attacks, backdoors, packet or IP spoofing, forged routing or email address information, or similar methods or technology that may disrupt or interfere with the operation or provision of the services, or harm Turo or the interests or property of others, bypassing robot exclusion headers, interfering with the working of the services, or imposing an unreasonable or disproportionately large load on our infrastructure, systematically retrieving data or other content from the services to create or compile, directly or indirectly, a collection, compilation, database, directory, or the like, whether by manual methods, or through the use of bots, crawlers, spiders, or otherwise using, displaying, mirroring, or framing the services or any individual element within the services, Turo's name, any Turo trademark, logo, or other proprietary information, or the layout and design of any page or form contained on a page in the services, without Turo's express written consent, accessing, tampering with, or using non-public areas of the services, our computer systems, or the technical delivery systems of our service providers attempting to probe, scan, or test the vulnerability of any of our system or network, or breach any security or authentication measures, avoiding, bypassing, removing, deactivating, impairing, descrambling, or otherwise circumventing any technological measure implemented by Turo or any of our service providers or any other third party, including another user, to protect the services, forging any TCP/IP packet header or any part of the header information in any email or newsgroup posting, or in any way using the services to send altered, deceptive, or false source identifying information, attempting to decipher, decompile, disassemble, or reverse engineer any of the software used to provide the services, endeavoring to circumvent a suspension, termination, or closure of your Turo account or the account of another Turo user, including, but not limited to, creating a new Turo account or listing vehicles affiliated with or registered to a Turo account holder that has been suspended, terminated, or closed, other legal matters violations. Turo has the right, but not the obligation, to investigate, pursue, and seek to prosecute, litigate, or refer to law enforcement violations of the agreement to the fullest extent permissible by the law. Turo reserves the right, at any time and without prior notice, in accordance with applicable law, to remove or disable access to any content that Turo, at its sole discretion, considers to be objectionable for any reason, in violation of these terms, or otherwise harmful to the services or our community. If we believe you are abusing Turo, our users, or any other person in any way, or violating the letter or spirit of any of these terms, we may, in our sole discretion and without limiting other remedies, limit, suspend, or terminate your Turo account and access to the services, remove hosted content, deny a damage claim, remove or demote your listings, reduce or eliminate any discounts, and take technical and/or legal steps to prevent you from using the services. Additionally, we reserve the right to refuse or terminate access to the services to anyone for any reason at our discretion to the full extent permitted under applicable law. Policy enforcement. When an issue arises, we may consider the user's performance history and the specific circumstances in applying our policies. We may choose to be more lenient with policy enforcement in an effort to do the right thing, subject to our sole and absolute discretion. Communications with you. In order to contact you more efficiently, you agree that we may at times contact you using auto-dialed or pre-recorded message calls or text messages at your phone numbers. We may place such calls or texts primarily to confirm your sign-up, provide notices regarding your Turo account or Turo account activity, investigate or prevent fraud, collect a debt owed to us, or communicate urgent messages. We may share your phone numbers with service providers with whom we contract to assist us in pursuing these interests. We will not share your phone numbers with third parties for their own purposes without your consent. Standard telephone minute and text and data charges may apply. Where Turo is required to obtain your consent for such communications, you may choose to revoke your consent. You authorize Turo and its service providers, without further notice or warning and in our discretion, to monitor or record telephone conversations you or anyone acting on your behalf has with Turo or its agents for quality control and training purposes. You acknowledge and understand that your communications with Turo may be overheard, monitored, or recorded without further notice or warning. If you do not wish to have your call recorded, please contact us instead in writing through support.turo.com. Non-disparagement. The parties agree that they will not take any action that will harm the reputation of the other party, or which would reasonably be expected to lead to unwanted or unfavorable publicity to either of the other party. Insurance and protection plans. Turo is not an insurance company and does not insure hosts or guests. Host and guest protection plans made available through the services are in no way related. To be eligible for coverage under a protection plan, hosts and guests must comply with these terms. Protection plans are available through the services only in the United States, excluding New York, the United Kingdom, and the Canadian provinces of Alberta, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Quebec. Protection plan details and other specifics can be found here. Please refer to the specific terms for guests and specific terms for hosts sections below for additional information based on the nature of your use of the services.